Sandeep says, wow, that example of empty table and food, sir, you awesome, loved it. Okay. Sharma, Sandeep says, sir, how to react when people who don't understand us without hurting them? How to react with the people who don't understand us without hurting them? In other words, you say they don't understand you until you become nasty. Why would you want to be nasty to anybody just for them to understand something that it's not necessary for them to understand? Because your life is not dependent on their understanding. If they do understand, then you continue interaction with them. If they don't understand something that is true and obvious, then why would you want to hang around? Waste your time. You don't have a mission to teach everybody. I remember some story, I don't know if you guys would be interested to hear, because it's still a mystic to me. And this whole business of you don't have to teach everybody. There was a time I had just left university for summer holidays. I went back home, and I had a little bit of a disagreement with the family, and so I left my home that night to another home that my father had had it built, and we hadn't moved in yet. It was a better house, nicer house, and so on, but it was still empty until we would make the move. So I was upset, and I was young, and I left and I went to that house, and I slept that night. It had beautiful, marble floors and then carpet in the rooms, but it was empty. So I slept on the carpet, and get up on the morning, I felt better and calmer, and meditated and put my thoughts together, and then I start walking back from this quite a bit far from where we were staying. So I walked back from north of the town toward the south on this very big main road. On the way, that was like 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. On the way, there was a big, huge park of the city. Amazing, beautiful park. Just unbelievable. For people to enjoy, students would go in there, sit under the tree and the lights and study till wee hours of the morning for their exams. Or, people, boyfriend, girlfriends would be hand in hand walking around and enjoying the scenery and the trees and so on. It was a beautiful, tranquil park. So the way it was is from the street, the main street, you would walk in downwardly to go into the park. So it would be like, I don't know how many meters below the street level, but you would enter it from the side of the street. So you go down and you go into the park, and then one part of it, you had to, in the middle of the park, you actually walk around until you go to the top, like a little island in the middle of the park. Right there was a couch, couple of couches, because there was a couch and a pussy willow tree, and a tranquil area, roses and stuff. So it was 6 o'clock in the morning by now, and I sat underneath the pussy willow tree, very tranquil, very nice, closed my eyes and meditated for maybe, I don't know, half an hour or an hour, I don't know. There was nobody there. Nobody in the park. Nobody. And definitely nobody on that little island that I had walked up, and on top of it, the summit of it. There was just a little place, and just a couch, and a few trees, and roses, flowers. And there was nobody there. 6 o'clock. When I opened my eyes, after my meditation, there was an old man sitting on the couch, white hair. Unbelievable. There was nobody there. I didn't hear anybody walk in on that place, sit, the gravel, So I could have heard something. So anyhow, I was a polite boy and student of Aikido, martial arts, very respectful. So I saw him thinking. So I went there. A little bow. And I said, you're in thought, Father. He said, everything is in thought. All the flowers are in thought. Trees are in thought. Everything is always thinking. I couldn't understand that then. I said, may I sit with you? He says, sure. So we talked. We talked for a while. I told him about my understanding of universe, energy, ki, harmony and interaction with ki, and the stuff that I was into at the time about the whole Aikido and universal energy and nature's energy and so on. He paid a very interesting compliment and he said, you're on the right track. Stay where you are. Don't change. Don't change from what you are thinking path is on this path. You're on the right path. And then we discussed, in our discussion, he said this, which the whole thing is supposed to bring you here. Sorry, it took me for a bit long. It was a good, deep memory. So thinking and seeing all that images of that moment took me back, way back. It was quite of an interesting experience for me, and obviously it did leave its imprint for the rest of my life, because I often, not too often, but when I think about that experience, I still don't know what it was. And he said, just remember, you have no mission to teach everybody. You explain what you explain. If they're interested, willing, worthy of learning, you continue. If not, you walk away. And then he said some other interesting, complimentary, heavy stuff to me. And then I was beside myself. And he said, I'm sorry if I make a mistake in the words. I have read so many hundreds of books and I mix up the languages. He spoke French and Farsi and English and all that so forth. So I left. Eventually, cut this long story short, it was longer than that, lots of other things. But when I came out, again, when I went down from that little islandish thing in the middle of the park, and I went down to go into the main park, and then eventually had to step up many steps to come up to the street level. It is beyond me to understand that the last step I took to enter into the street, it was all haze. It was like it was a different time. It was like I stepped from somewhere to somewhere new. I didn't know what that haze was. It's like coming into from somewhere where it was all the same. It was all part of the town, but it was an amazing feeling. I can't explain it. Forget it. All right, let's not get mushy. So in other words, the merit of the whole thing is that, you know, you don't need to teach everyone anything. Just focus on your life. If they're interested, they will engage. If they're not, you have no mission to bring anybody from where they are to where they should be, or you think they should be, or enlightenment, if they're not willing to. If they're willing to, you help them. If they're not willing to, freedom is the name of the game. All right. You guys somehow got me into things that I didn't want to go to, but then you did.